And now, an internet talk show bringing the weirdness of Tulsa people to the weirdness of other people. Via YouTube, it's too soon.
Welcome, viewers. You know, here at Too Soon, we like our pop culture references like we like our John McCain's. Old, out of touch, and irrelevant. Speaking of John McCain, when asked about the upcoming election, all he did was mumble and say something about being mad about being replaced by Hayden Christensen in the Ewok dance party scenes. Hey, in the studio tonight we've got a great guest, as always. His name is Michael Champlin, and we're going to find out what he's all about. Welcome, Michael. How are you?
I'm great. First of all, for having me.
Thank you, Michael.
All of you for being so awesome.
All of you. Thank you so much. So what are you doing here? What are you hoping to promote on the show?
Well,
with our millions of viewers.
I'm a graphic designer and photographer.
A GDP, as we talked about.
A
before,
GDP,
yes.
Not to be confused with a gross domestic product. I'm really quite disgusting,
Anyway.
actually. So I have this little project called the Tulsa Project.
The Tulsa Project.
Started about 2 years ago. We did the whole thing for about a year. Last fall started kind of falling off with it, but we're getting it started back up.
Why did it decline?
Well, you know, just a whole lot of things. We had a good run for about a year, and everybody just kind of got busy, and people moved away, and people had children. And
I don't understand how children can come into the way of anything, really. I mean, people need to prioritize, I'd say.
I think it is mostly a matter of mistaken priorities.
Yeah. So the Tulsa Project is an online magazine, more or less?
That's right. We started out with a very strict magazine format. We did a monthly issue. We got about 6 issues in before we sort of switched the format up a little bit to something that we updated more on a weekly basis. And then it sort of fell off about last October, but we're looking to get it started back up sometime in the spring.
Great. So do you have... How does the writing work? Do you do most of it, or do you have a staff writer? Or
Well, you know, my idea from the beginning with the Tulsa Project was to give various people, whoever they might be, a voice.
Sure.
You know, at its base, you know, it was an excuse for me to write more and take more pictures and things like that. But more than that, I wanted to give people the opportunity to write or to photograph things that they found in Tulsa and kind of give them a forum, give them a voice, basically.
Sure, yeah.
So we don't have a staff writer in particular. I've written a lot of this stuff just because I started it and I was around first. But we've had guest posts from a lot of people. Actually, one of your former guests, Colleen McCarty, wrote our most popular article so far, which was a piece on North Tulsa.
Oh, okay, great. And she also did the music section for a while.
Yes, she was the music blogger for us for about 6 or 7 months.
Great, and that was a great segment.
Yeah, we're looking to get that started back up too.
So it's not always, you know, you could look at 2 different issues, as that, if you consider them that, and the writing could be totally different.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I wanted to bring in was sort of a lot of different viewpoints. You know, I don't like limiting the scope of something. You know, that was one of the things I loved about our North Tulsa piece. Is in the comments section of the page, we really got people talking and almost arguing, which you know, I loved that. You know, we were sparking a dialogue, which is one of the things I wanted to do. So
yeah, that's great. And I'm sure most of the people reading were like, "Oh, don't go to North Tulsa."
You know, it was interesting. It was the feedback was. There was some of that for sure. I mean, anybody who lives in Tulsa knows you're going to get some of that. But there was a lot of positive response to it. I was really pleased. A lot of people seemed like what she wrote, you know, seemed to resonate with people. That you know, we can't ignore problems and expect them to go away. So.
Sure. And little do most of our viewers know that our studio is in North Tulsa. So some people frown upon that. Anyway, what made you start this? How did you get interested in kind of progressing this Tulsa creative thing?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I grew up in Tulsa, I grew up in the suburbs, but basically in the Tulsa area. And then I went off to Stillwater for college, and I came back a few years ago, and things were really starting to change. And I've always had kind of a soft spot for Tulsa. I've always thought it was a nice little city. And
it's a cute little town.
I saw some really cool things happening with the development downtown, and I was seeing more people that I graduated with from college wanting to stick around instead of immediately going to San Francisco or New York City or something, they were seriously considering staying here. And I started meeting, and I already knew, but I started meeting even more, creative people, and I just saw so much potential here, and I thought, I want to try and tap into that and give some of those people sort of a kind of a conduit to get to, to show people how many awesome, talented people we have.
Really is.
We have a lot of really talented people.
I think that's a major problem we're having right now. A lot of our creative people are wanting to leave, and I think it's great that more of these little startups are trying to keep that happening.
I think we're seeing more and more people seriously consider Tulsa as a place, long term. Yeah, I mean, we got some really cool stuff going on. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, so great. Well, I'm excited you're around. There are a couple of other kind of similarly formatted things happening in Tulsa. How do you plan to differentiate yourself from the Tulsa Egotist or This Land Press?
Well, it's interesting. We started back about the same time as This Land, and I've kind of watched that grow as I've done my own thing, and I really love what they're doing. Same with the Tulsa Egotist. I don't see it so much as a competitive thing. I mean, I think if they're doing something similar where they're giving people who want a voice and giving them a voice and a platform, that's awesome. As far as what makes us different, I see it as, we're really Tulsa focused. And we're not just, there's all this awesome current stuff happening and development, and, really followed the Planet Tulsa process and the new transit plan and everything. But there's all this great history in Tulsa, too. And that's one of the reasons that I got interested in. So I'd like to think, kind of taking it from different perspectives is what'll make us stand out. We don't limit it except to Tulsa, and there's so many stories to tell in Tulsa. I think you could have a whole lot of publications like this, and you're never going to run out of interesting stories. Because there's just, I'm always meeting people with interesting stories or finding things in the library archives that I didn't even know existed.
So it's more symbiotic than competitive.
Oh, I totally. I mean, I love that they're doing what they're doing, and the more the merrier. I mean, it's good for the city, and it's good for what we do, and it's good for me as a creative person because, there's more work to be done, and, always things to be working on.
Yeah.
So
and it's not a blog, right? You are a magazine.
Right. I think when I was first looking at doing the Tulsa Project, on those notes I took in class when I should have been studying macroeconomics and GDP, and I wrote down specifically, this is not a blog, because I have nothing against blogs. I read blogs. I've tried many times to write blogs. I had a Zanga. Yeah, you bet.
Me too.
E-props.
Oh, yeah. E-props to that.
So, didn't want it to be a blog. Wanted something a little longer form. Put a little bit more work into it. I've always loved magazines, just the editorial nature, and so we wanted to focus on really great photography and really putting time and effort into things.
Yeah,
so, not that there's anything wrong with blogs. I love blogs.
Well, it's no YouTube talk show, but I'm sure it's wonderful. Anyway, so let's start to wrap up here. How can our viewers get involved in either the writing process or even just reading it and subscribing?
Yeah, well, for starters, everybody should check out TulsaProject.com. We have,
Oh, go on.
Oh, yeah. We currently have all our archives of our past issues and pieces up there, and then we're hoping to get new stuff. If you go there, there's a little bit more information about that. You can sign up for our mailing list, sign up for our RSS feed, and then again, we're always looking for people to contribute. Writers, people who do photography, video. I mean, if you write short stories or draw cartoons, I want to talk to you. I mean, I'm not limiting it. I love meeting talented people in Tulsa, and I love, showcasing their work. So,
great. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And while we're plugging websites and such, I think you should follow me on Twitter. Read our blog that we sometimes update. That's blogspot.toosoontulsa, whatever. I'll put it down there somewhere. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, and you for watching.